had a fun day? How far could you walk with your stuffed animal on your head? Could you sit down with it on your head and on your shoulder? Did you find some good music to walk with? I hope you had a great time with that activity. And did you find some interesting things to pinprick today? I hope you did. Here is another story about seeds that I'd like to share with you. It's called The Trellis and the Seed. The little seed felt warm in the nice lady's hand. Someone had given it to her at the end of summer because she had a garden and loved flowers. Here, they said, this will make a beautiful vine with sweet-smelling blossoms. The little seed, however, did not believe this. It only was a seed and very small. How could it ever be a beautiful vine with blossoms? The little seed spent the winter in a jelly glass on the top shelf of her china cupboard. I do that with seeds too. When spring came, the nice lady went out and bought a trellis for the seed. A whole trellis for a tiny seed? Then she took down the glass and ran a bit of water into it so the seed could soak. This will make you soft and help you sprout faster, she said. The nice lady went to her early spring garden and she found just the right place for the trellis. She put it deep into the ground by her brick wall. At the base, she made a tiny hole with her finger and picked up the seed, which had grown soft from the soaking. She took it to the garden and put it in the hole. She said, "Goodbye, I'll see you this summer." Then she filled the small hole with dirt and patted it firmly with her hand. Though being someplace soft felt nice for a change, it was dark in the hole and it was cold in the hole. "Don't worry," said the earth. "God has planned something beautiful for you. You will be a green vine with a blossom that scent the night air with sweet perfume." There it was again. That story about vines and blossoms. The little seed did not believe it. The days passed and the sun shone on and the rain fell. And then there was a stir in the dark hole. Something happened at the bottom of this little seed that felt like a tickle. And then something happened at the top of the seed that felt like a kiss. And the rain fell and the sun shone and the days grew warm. And soon there was no more seed. Instead, there was a small green sprout. "Hello," said the nice lady. "I knew you'd show up about now. If you would just climb this trellis, I shall be pleased as anything." Climb the trellis? How could a small sprout climb a trellis that was 1,000,000,000,000,000 feet tall? "Just start," said the earth. "The job is half done. We've made a beginning." For many days, thunder shook the heavens Water stood in puddles in the garden, and the little sprout thought it just might drown. Then the sun came out, and it shone and shone. While the sprout scarcely was paying attention, it became a vine. The vine stretched out a green, curling tendril that touched something that didn't feel soft like dirt or warm like the sun. And for a moment, it was afraid of anything that felt so different, and it tried to pull its tendril back, but it was stuck to the trellis. Well, you know what? There's only one thing to do. It began to climb. It couldn't help climbing. It couldn't stop climbing. It climbed to the right, and it climbed to the left, and it danced out into the air where there was no trellis at all. Then one day, it couldn't climb any higher. It tried and tried to reach the top of the trellis, but nothing worked. Its glossy leaves drooped. Its tendrils lost their curls. The nice lady came out, humming a little tune, and she sprinkled something, smelly around the roots of the vine. Then she worked it into the earth with her spade. There, she said to the vine, that should be delicious. Soon afterwards, a summer shower swept over the garden, and suddenly, the top of the trellis didn't seem so far away after all. Foxgloves and hollyhocks blossomed by the doorstep. Cosmos and lavender bordered the path. Old-fashioned roses twisted up an arbor, spilling petals into the ruffled petunias. In the nice lady garden, everything was blooming, everything but the vine on the trellis. Though it had climbed all the way to the top of the trellis and started up the brick wall, it felt very disappointed, for it knew at last that the story about the fragrant blossoms wasn't true at all. Wait, said the earth. God's timing for you is different. That evening, a full moon appeared in the cloudless sky. It rose slowly over the nice lady's house, turning the garden path into a ribbon of silver. The vine felt the soft moonlight steal among the leaves. Something happened that felt like a tickle. And then something happened that felt like a kiss. And soon, the nice lady appeared in her nightdress and bare feet, walking on the silver ribbon. What's going on? She asked the garden. What a wondrous fragrance has awoken me, and it called me to come out. She followed the scent until she came to the trellis, and there, half hidden among the leaves, she saw dozens of ivory blossoms unfold on the vine, and each blossom opened. As each blossom opened, a heavenly aroma escaped upon the air, bathing the garden with sweet perfume. The nice lady looked on in amazement. She could hardly believe that so much beauty and mystery had come from one tiny seed. I just knew you were going to be something wonderfully different, she exclaimed. She happily twisted an ivory blossom into her hair and tucked another into the buttonhole of her nightdress. She picked an especially beautiful one and put it by her bed in a painted china cup. "Thank you," she said, filled with admiration, as she walked back to her house on the silver ribbon, and a shiver of joy stirred in the vine that blossoms only at night, the vine whose lovely name is Moonflower. And over the nice lady's garden, there was a stillness and peace. I have here a package of moonflowers. I actually plant them every year because not only do they flower during the nighttime, they start flowering about dinner time, and you can watch them open up. So I plant a lot of them, and I go outside in the evening and I read a book and I watch the flowers open to the night. By the time morning comes, they're done and the flowers, the blossoms fall off. But it is a wondrous thing to see them open up. All right, and I do need to plant some. And I'm gonna do exactly what that wonderful little old lady did in the story. I'm going to take my seeds, which are tough little guys. Let me get a close look. They're quite tough, so they really do need to be soaked. And now, to soak them. They are so tough that I will probably soak up them until Monday morning. So I'll put them in a special place. Now, speaking of seeds, I have them walking about in my garden too. And I found some fun things. This one doesn't have the seed in it anymore. But that's what's left of a tomatillo. This is what it looks like when it still has the seeds. That's a dried fruit, and all of the seeds are inside of that, waiting to land on the ground and sprout again. And I really like this one. It kind of, I don't know, reminds me of a ski in some ways. This is from one of my favorite trees here, my tulip trees. I like tulip trees because their leaves look like shirts. So I hope you found some interesting seeds on your walk, and I hope you have a great weekend. And I will see you again on Monday with some stories and some ideas. Thank you for spending time with me.